All right, ladies and gentlemen, Sportswire Radio is about to get some class. That's right, some first class. Because our tag team, one of our favorite tag teams around, I lost count. I always say how many championships they have between them, and they're going to be in action not only this weekend coming up in Pride and Honor Wrestling, but we're going to see them throughout the next month. So you're going to see these guys in singles, tag action for several of our favorite companies around here, and they certainly need no introduction, but because they have so many championships between them, they're going to definitely get that introduction. Anyway, so without further ado here on the Sports Report, the number one level sports show. Pro Wrestling Stars here. Champion Shirley and the Nomad Dalton Garrett. They are first place. Fellas, how you doing?
Good. It doesn't matter how many times you do that; it just never gets old. It really doesn't.
It gets the hairs on the back of the neck standing up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny. I do these all the time. Obviously, I do them sometimes in wrestling. Sometimes I do them in sports and university sports, or occasionally professional sports. And I'll get the guest on. Let's say, Tom, it doesn't matter about anything else. What I'm going to remember you for is those introductions. So I really appreciate that. Obviously, good to have you guys. This is like the third or fourth time we've done this, and
I believe this is the fourth time.
I figured that. At this point, I've done so many of these on Sportswire. Even I kind of have to remember how many times have you been on this spot and that spot. But that's okay. That's here nor there.
It doesn't really matter. We do it because we enjoy coming on here.
We enjoy having you guys on. We're big fans of what you do on Sportswire, and obviously a lot of people I think are tuned in tonight are going to feel the same. And there is a lot to talk about with you guys here.
Can I just say one thing? The last time we were on here, we ended it on a pretty scary, sad note, as everyone knows at the time. But some of the people who are watching this know. Tom, I know you know, but Dalton, if you want to fill them in from what happened last time we were here.
Sure. So the last time we were on here, it sort of transpired that I was being investigated for a potential bowel cancer. It turns out that there is nothing wrong. It's a minor ailment. I've had all the tests. They've all come back completely negative. So I'm sorry, guys, you're stuck with me for a little while longer yet.
Yeah.
Well, no, I actually think it's your opponents who are going to feel sorry. Not so much for us. We're happy to have you on Sportswire, but your opponents, they're going to feel the punishment because you're going to take out that false announcement there on them. So I think it's going to be for your opponents. It's going to be the pain and suffering. So they'll get the receipt for that. But obviously, a lot to talk about. And congratulations again. We're very, very happy, Matt Dalton Garrett, that news definitely came back differently, and certainly a lot to get into here tonight. A lot of dates here that we're going to see you guys. And obviously, coming up here in Pride and Honor Wrestling here this Saturday, we're going to see you guys against the Thrash Hearts. A really intriguing matchup here, and set the tables for us and what we can expect. And a company in Pride and Honor really haven't spoke about much here on Sportswire.
Well,
so jump in here.
They're brand new. It's a brand new company. And here's the thing. Dalton and I are not members of the LBGT community, but this is something to support that. But one thing I'm a big avid supporter of, and I'm sure Dalton will say this as well, is wrestling is for everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're a different race, different religion, different sexuality, what you identify as. Wrestling is something that everyone can enjoy, and that these days it can be proved that anyone can be a part of as well. So that is why we're taking part in this, to show this. That like I said, wrestling is for all.
Absolutely.
I'm all about the solidarity. I'm all about the solidarity. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. If you love the wrestling community, it doesn't matter your sexual orientation, how you identify. We don't care. If you're a good person, you're all right in my book.
Yeah, so basically,
Absolutely.
the theory of this is love for all, love for your fellow man. Oh, we're not going to be showing the thrash hearts any love when we're in the rig, that's for sure. But the love and compassion.
I was gonna say, I mean,
amongst
listen, we're all
others,
for everybody having a shot, but I mean, to show them love, your opponents in the ring, I'd say,
Yeah.
well, guys, I mean, I think people want to see you kick some butt. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely, yeah.
We'll do it respectfully and lovingly, but yeah, they're gonna get the beating of their lives. There's no two ways about it.
This beating comes from the heart. It really does.
Okay, well, I have no doubt that that's going to be the case here. But, with a company like this, then it's starting out, and obviously it's got a message that I think is going to try to, further bring people together. We've seen, obviously, the professional wrestling world here has definitely changed a lot in that sense over the past few years, where you've seen a lot more inclusion. Obviously, women also main eventing shows. We've also seen different communities and walks of life. So,
Well,
I mean,
if you follow women's wrestling, it's just come from strength to strength to strength.
Absolutely, yeah.
And to be honest with you, I mean, I think a lot of the women's stuff out there is actually trumping a lot of the guy stuff, to be honest.
Absolutely, and I was actually going to say that. I mean, if you think about, for example, listen, the Rhea Ripley and Charlotte match at WrestleMania, Bianca opening the show with Io Sky. I mean, just from WWE standpoint, AEW, Jamie Hayter, obviously our AEW Women's Champion, not too far.
Well, so shout out to my AEW buddy Saraya.
She was next. I was getting more next. I mean, but it shows you though where we are in the world of life. And I have comments, but just on a pride and honor note, talk about then with a company like this. You guys are here the first time. What are the goals that you have this Saturday for what you guys are going to do in the ring?
Like I said, it's about bringing communities together, no matter what people identify as, both in a gender sense and in a sexuality sense. Like I said, wrestling's for everyone. We're there to do a job, but like I said, it's got great meaning behind it as well. And this Pride of Honor thing, Jensen Ryan, the guy who asked us to do this, he's a great example. He's himself an openly gay wrestler, but he doesn't let that bother him. He just does the work, and he's a hell of a worker as well. So it's good for him to try and give back.
He's come a very, very long way in a very short amount of time. I mean, the guy's been on sort of BBC TV here in the UK. They've sort of documented him as he's come along. So, I mean, there are people out there who will know who he is.
And and I believe he's hoping to make this like an annual thing as well. It won't be something that's going to be like constant full time, because I don't think because this is funded by the Southampton Council.
I
So
see.
this is not going to be a full-time thing, but this is something I think Southampton want to do to give back to certain communities.
Sure.
Which I can commend. I can absolutely commend that. So
no question about it.
That's what the fans can expect from us. We're bringing our A game. Whenever you go to a new territory, and we've said this before, you want to put your best foot forward. You want to give the best showing of yourself, because if this thing does become a regular occurrence, you bet that the first class want to be on the marquee. We want to be the headline name. So, they're going to get the first class, every little bit of us.
Definitely.
Well, you guys are first class after all. You guys, like I said, have more championships than counted. I want to pull up a couple of comments, specifically two of them first. They weren't the first comments, but I want to give them the first class treatment here. The first one here is a company that we're going to see you guys at on June the 11th, and that is called Breakout Pro Wrestling. Yes. Obviously, you know a lot about them. You guys are going to be in the ring against the Lawless, and if I can break it here, May the 26th, we actually have a special slot coming up here for Breakout Pro Wrestling. We're going to recap the whole thing, everything that's going to go down, what's going to happen, the card with an individual named Ben. You probably know who Ben is, so certainly.
I'm sure we'll probably pay attention to because the day after we got to travel hit the road, so we'll probably sit and watch that, because I'll be staying with Dalton the night before we go to Immortal, so we'll probably watch that.
We're going to talk a lot about you guys, so you're going to definitely be a huge part of that conversation. It'll be May 26th, right around the same time that we're here tonight, so stay tuned for that. But before I get to another company, let's talk about Breakout for a minute. You guys are going to be in the the ring against the Walls. It's a really, really exciting card. Disciple versus Hammerhead Smith is a part of it. I mean, a number of people on Sportswire Radio are going to be a part of this card. So, I mean, give me your impressions on what we can see from you guys here in pretty much just about a month or so from now.
This is going to be a very exciting thing because the Lawless, like themselves, they're the first. This is the first time we faced like another big man team since me and Dalton have been teams together, and they're big guys. So this is going to be an all-out slugfest. We have great respect.
When I found out we were going against them, I've upped my training regimen.
I mean, I've been seeing he's been really building the arms. He really has.
Oh, your arms are big enough to begin with, though. How do you build arms that are already big, champ?
I have to admit they are getting they're getting pretty tasty now. So.
Well, I'm sure your opponents are going to find out about that then. So,
I've been trying to work on my more speed and agility because if you're facing, it's one thing to have strength, but you need to have good speed and agility to try and out wrestle certain people as well.
Some of the best tag teams out there have been made out of a powerhouse and an agility guy. You need that yin to yang, you need to have that diversity in your arsenal. If you don't have that and it's just four big guys banging away, well, eventually something's going to give. If you've got a guy that the other guys can't catch, then that gives you an edge.
Absolutely. And just in a situation like this, because you guys obviously, it's a really, really intriguing card. You got Rarebit and Jack Johnson. I've seen that obviously in some other companies. Yeah. Sean Only has an open challenge. And there's like a pre-show where it's a qualifying match to who challenges Sean Only. And then, as I mentioned, we have Disciple and Hammerhead Smith. I mean, there's a lot of other great matches we're going to definitely find out about here. So, I mean,
if nothing else, I'm just looking forward to getting in that locker room and, just being around the other guys.
That's exactly what I was about to ask, because I was wondering, when you have a roster like this, I mean, who's who of former champions, current champions, really, really big-time guys here in the UK wrestling scene. I mean, what do you do? How do you fit in?
You just basically it's just about making yourself known. Going up, shaking hands with the guys. Some of the guys you're probably going to see eye to eye with. Some of them you probably aren't. But it's just about making sure people remember who you are.
And respect. At the end of the day, these guys, they're where they are. They've paid their dues. They've really worked for what they have. And just to give a bit of respect, I respect anyone who has the balls to step in between the ropes and put themselves out there for the general public. I do. It's not easy, and it's not for everyone.
Yeah, anytime someone wants to step between the ropes on this professional level, they've got my respect. Whether how they act outside the ring, though, is a different thing entirely.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. That's like anything in life. It's all about how you carry yourself. I was always taught at a young age, if you carry yourself a certain way, people will respect you. Even if they don't like you, they'll respect you. So anything in life, you always want to carry it that way. And can I mention another tag team? We had on an individual last week, kind of ties into the next
I think I know where this is going. Yeah.
All right. So if you know where this is going, obviously we're going to play along here at home. There's a tag team called the Modern Day Mafia, and they are the CWE tag team champions there. And their promoter is Joshua Howard. Obviously, they put on also an event for a great cause here a couple of weeks ago. And now I know you guys are going to be busy that day on June the 11th. And certainly an individual here that was a guest of mine last week actually just commented. So they have a challenge that they've put out there. Obviously, I'm sure you might have heard of the Modern Day Mafia, Mr. Colbert, Mr. Dave.
We met good old Uncle Ralph just a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Up at Carnage, yeah.
Okay, so that you basically know where this is going. So, I mean, what are your impressions of the Modern Day Mafia? What are your impressions of their open challenge? I know you guys are busy that night. I know you guys have also seen that they are the CWE Tag Team Champions, and they've been kind of, especially Mr. Cobra, he's been kind of back and forth with another big man you might have heard of named the Big Cheese Logan, who's their UK champion in the CWE. And, I mean, what are your impressions then of the Modern Day Mafia?
Listen, the Modern Day Mafia, we don't take anything from them whatsoever. We've seen what they can do, and they wouldn't be where they are if they didn't work hard and didn't know how to kick ass, okay? But listen, anytime, if whoever wants to sign it, whoever wants to put it on a match card. Whoever wants to give us the time of day, if they want us to face the Modern Day Mafia any time, anywhere, it doesn't matter whether it's in Fleetwood, where they sometimes are with CWE,
Yes,
or if they want us to go all the way to Timbuktu. Okay, if they give us the opportunity, we'll take it.
We did open our account pretty strongly at Carnage Championship Wrestling. So well, in fact, that we've been invited back on the 17th of June. So who knows? It could be the First Class versus the Modern Day Mafia there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I mean, listen, I don't know if I should play promoter hat. I don't know if I should talk in a way for the gentleman thug, Ronnie Thatcher. But, I mean, would that be a date on the 17th that you guys, obviously knowing you're going to be a part of Carnage, would like to see the Modern Day Mafia there? Would you like to cross paths with them? Is that something that...
Absolutely. They are on my list of guys that I want to step in the ring with. At the end of the day, I want to establish the First Class as the premier tag team in the United Kingdom. And I know that we've had a couple of inquiries from sort of Europe as well. I want to put us on the map. I want us to be seen as the team to face and the team to try and beat. So the Modern Day Mafia are on there.
And listen, we have our critics as well. There are people saying that we probably shouldn't be teaming together, or we're too different to be a team.
Well. Time out on that.
We're having fun.
Screw the critics. Screw the critics. Yeah. It's about what you guys want, not about what somebody says, some armchair person. Listen. Frig them.
Again, we did put up a short video on our social. As everyone knows, we have our number one fan, a little 5-year-old girl by the name of Savvy.
Absolutely.
And some of the comments we got to that about us being sellouts and pandering to the crowd, and how can we be taken seriously when we're putting the feel good nonsense out there on the net? How can people take us seriously as a dominant force, a team to be reckoned with, if we're pandering to children?
I would remind everybody, John Cena holds the record for Make-A-Wishes. Didn't stop him from winning as many championships as he did, right?
There we go.
It certainly didn't. And at the end of the day, I mean, let's keep this in mind. Everything we do here is for the fans. If not for them, then for who?
Exactly.
That's it. A fair point. I mean, listen, but I do have some comments here from Mr. Cobra himself before I get to Savvy and some others.
Oh, here we go.
Mr. Cobra says, "Good evening, chaps." And speaking of chaps, I saw some chops that Mr. Cobra took last year at a show from the Big Cheese Logan. They definitely look like they hurt. That's all I'll say. He says, "We would be open to this. You guys have been kicking ass and taking names. It would be a war." So what do you say to that?
Listen, they seem to be in the same mindset of us, so yeah.
As I said, we want to establish ourselves as the best. The only way we're going to be able to do that is if we face the best. So taking on guys like this.
Something out there, as we're here with obviously the Champion Charlie and the Nomad Dalton Garrett, let me throw a total curveball out there. Tell me what your thoughts are on this. And obviously we have Joshua Howard on, who's the promoter of Championship Wrestling Entertainment. Obviously they run their shows. I guess it's maybe not even quarterly, but a third of the show coming up in a couple of months. So let me say this. Obviously, Mr. Cobra is one half of the tag team champions, along with his partner, Dave Douglas, in the Modern Day Mafia. You guys have a lot of gold between the two of you. You're obviously always looking for gold. Can I throw it out there? Would it be possibility one day maybe you want a shot at those CWE tag team titles? That's something I should throw out there as an alternate?
Yes. Absolutely. At the end of the day, mate, where belts they become a bit of an addiction. You get your first one, you want your second one, and then before you know it, you want 15 of them. Okay, the logistics of getting that many belts around, they are.
Listen, you could call us the descendants of Smaug. Okay, we want all the gold. We want all the gold. Okay, so there we go.
I haven't heard that one before, but I'm gonna let you have that. That's all yours, champ. That is certainly all yours there.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. So maybe somebody out there can make that happen. I do want to read up some earlier comments because people want to say hello. Michael Knowles got a couple of comments. Well. If it isn't Dalton Garrett and Champagne Charlie, he
Yeah.
says,
Hey,
"Let's be
Mikey.
honest. Let's be honest. Nuclear Winter made Coward Boy back off. I give Horace credit for standing up to you both, though. Okay, we'll get to
How
that
we
for
forget?
sure."
How could we forget that one? Honestly, so
I mean, we were slated to be at the Zenith, but unfortunately, it clashes with the Immortal booking, and the Immortal
I was
booking
gonna
comes
say,
in
you guys
first.
we have a weekend ahead to talk about here in a couple of weeks. So, I mean, obviously, we'll get into that. Certainly, Mr. Robertson and Mr. Horace are actually squaring off, I guess, in the
I
rubber
saw
match.
that mask versus match, which yeah,
Well,
which
I mean, that God,
That'll be
which
one to watch. Absolutely one to watch.
absolutely.
yeah.
No, that's going to be a stacked card. But we have some cards here that we want to talk about with you guys here. Before I do that, I have some more comments. Andrew Hanley, of course. Andrew, always love Andrew. Says good evening, gents. Love
Hey,
Andrew.
Andrew, how you doing, mate?
Casey Jack Bradley, another one of our regulars training at GT Ministries by Sean Only, who, by the way, is going to be at Breakout Pro Wrestling. And Sean
indeed.
Only, who I always joke is kind of like the real version of CM Punk, because they always kind of say him and CM Punk look alike, but Sean Only's actually the one that's in the ring these days, unlike Mr. Punk, who you hear more about outside the ring. And obviously, Casey Jack is with us here. Also,
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one, Tom.
all right, fair enough. That's a good one. Mr. Cobra has not pleaded the fifth, and he would like to respond. He says, anytime, any place, we're fighting champions.
Listen, if someone
Well,
gives me,
dude, you know what to do. Talk to the promoter. We're literally a phone call away. As it stands, there is nothing between us but time and opportunity, bro.
Exactly so.
Well, I guess, Joshua Howard, if you're listening, I mean, do you want the first class on the next Championship Wrestling Entertainment show? I mean, that might be something that maybe a lot of people would want to see, especially those
I could,
watching
I could use a trip up to Blackpool. I've not been there in years, so. Well, you fancy a trip to the Blackpool Tower?
Yeah, I'd love a trip to the Blackpool Tower.
Mr. Cobra, for now, would like to say, I'm going to go for now. I'm going to hit the gym because he's prepared, because he heard about you and your arms. He heard about those arms getting bigger. So that's why he's got to go train, because eventually you might see him in a ring. That maybe we'll see him in Carnage Championship Wrestling with you guys. Maybe we'll see him in the CWE and a number of places. And thank you, Mr. Cobra. I had a great time with Mr. Cobra last week on the show. Mr. Cobra's always been one of my favorites. And last thing I'll say about Mr. Cobra, that's why I am kind of a fan of Mr. Cobra's, although I'll have to plead the fifth if you guys square off with him and Mr. Douglas. But Mr. Cobra months ago actually coined me the Ryan Seacrest of UK pro wrestling interviews. So I will have to say that I have to give him a check in the mail. But I have another wrestler here that's going to come back on here very soon to sports. Well, I have a couple of them, actually. But the first one here is from an up-and-coming team over in Wrestling Appreciation Society. Obviously, you guys know them very well. They're the Phantom of the Outlaw. That is Owen Carter. And he had, obviously, a match against Remus Kane and Callum Dix. You guys know them very well, the tag team champions in Enfield. And he says, I'm always interested to hear from the first class. Anything you want to say
there? Owen is a guy who's on our radar. We've bumped into Owen a couple of times.
Especially in the we did it for Savage Better. We were in this battle royal, and I think I do apologize for this now. I can say this now, but I probably laid in the hardest chop I've ever delivered to my life. Unfortunately, that was at the expense of Owen.
So. Owen, I'm seeing good things and I'm hearing good things. This lad, he's coming on very, very, very quickly. So I got a feeling.
And he might be our next. He might be our next and first ever nonstop action wrestling young blood champion there, because it was announced that he's going to be there.
Well, it's definitely a belt I'm not going to be challenging for. I'm definitely not young.
But you've got like how many championships again? I mean, I think you won gold from Mr. Cobra. That's what I think you should be taking gold from, Mr. Cobra.
for now, the singles titles are great, but we've just got such a good thing going on with the tag team at the moment. We really want to build our tag team credentials and adding as many tag team titles to that list as we can. So literally anyone watching who wants to bring in a new team, freshen up your tag team division, the first class, we're ready, we're willing, and we're able.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so obviously we'll see, and I want to break it here actually because Mr. Carter is with us on May the 24th, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow. We're going to have on Mr. Carter and his tag team partner, The Fan in Phoenix. We're going to talk a whole lot about Nonstop Action Wrestling's next show coming up here, Zenith, May the 27th.
We wish everyone there the best of luck with that show. Sorry
Absolutely.
we can't make it, but like I said, I'm obliged to. I'm contractually obliged to. Defend my Immortal Wrestling Fighting Championship, and Dalton is in a fatal four-way match to try and win
the National Heavyweight Championship. So that could be my third singles title.
We're going to talk about that absolutely in a few minutes here on Sportswire Radio. And again, I'm
actually really looking forward to that because I'm up against three amazing guys.
Well, I want to talk about that. I definitely want to talk about that. I have a lot on the agenda here. So certainly Mr. Carter and Mr. Phoenix will definitely have a lot to say with them on the 24th, 8 o'clock British Standard Time on all of the Sportswire Radio platforms. We'll talk all things related to Wrestling Appreciation Society's deadline show. We'll talk Zenith. We'll talk the Youngblood situation. We'll talk about the society, everything else. So stay tuned for that. And also, I want to get to another individual here that kind of wants to say something to you. He's a big man also. You might have heard of him. You've seen him in places like CCW, but now he's in Firestar Championship Wrestling where he is going to be a part of the Big Daddy Memorial Battle Royal, and his name is Mr. BMD.
Yes.
Evening, chaps. I may have a friend who's down for a challenge if you're offering them. What would you like to say to one of our favorites here, Mr. BMD?
We're always game for a challenge.
Always game for a challenge. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Give us a call. Let us know who. Let us know where.
He's with us right now on Sportswire. He doesn't even have to give a call.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, well, if that's certainly a company that's you'd like in Mr. BMD in the ring, sure, why not?
Who have you got in mind, BMD? Come on, spill the beans. Who you got in mind?
You can't take a camel to the Oasis and not expect it to drink. Come on, let's yeah.
Well, I know it's one. I actually think it's one person it's not going to be because when we had him on, this was about maybe a month or so ago now on Easter, we had him and certainly another individual you guys have heard of named the Necessary Evil Palmer and they kind of had a big kind of confrontation there, sort of, to an extent where I don't think it's going to be the Necessary Evil Palmer that would be that person that would be alongside Mr. BMD. That I can promise.
Palmer, one hell of a big man wrestler, that's for sure.
Listen, with the match he had with the Big Cheese over for the CWE UK title, they're still talking about that there. They are still talking about this. So BMD also though wants to respond. Apparently, he wants to get to you guys, and he says here, that partner would be a surprise. It's all a surprise for now. Big things coming, gents.
Yeah,
look forward to
it. Bring who you want. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, you know what? We hope that's the case. And if you're on Facebook, give a follow to the Nomad Dalton Garrett at the Nomad Wrestler. Also, give a friend request to Champagne Charlie. Also, make sure you follow great companies like Breakout Pro Wrestling, Immortal Pro Wrestling, Pride and Honor. Also, Firestar, Nonstop Action Wrestling, DKW, a number of individuals. But speaking of the bat signal, because another bat signal has been put on here, because another guest is coming on here May the 22nd in your chair, and I just referenced Mr. Cobra, so I think he certainly got his attention perked up. That is the Big Cheese Logan, who is the current CWE UK champion. He's all over the place. He hobnobs with the likes of Cody Rhodes, Bianca Belair, all the big wrestling stars, the boxing stars, and I guess he took a minute from that to say, good evening, my friends. As I signed in, I heard my name. You have any impressions of the Big Cheese Logan? He's a big man. He doesn't like Joe Cobra, by the way. He does not like Joe Cobra these days. And, any thoughts on the Big Cheese Logan?
Great respect for your work, and like I said, it'd be a great opportunity, whether it's in a tag setting or a single setting, to step in the ring with you at some point. Like I said, just great work at what you're doing, and Very, very pretty UK championship.
Yes, a
Absolutely,
very
the
pretty
belt is
championship.
phenomenal. Looks very good on his shoulder, but I think it looked better on mine.
It would look very
You know,
good. It
it's
looked
funny
very
you
good
said that.
next to this and this.
Well, you know, it's funny that you said that there, gentlemen, as we're here on Sportswire Radio, that last time we had the Big Cheese in his official spot. Last week, he obviously interrupted Mr. Cobra, certainly unannounced.
Yeah, I
But
saw that.
he had talked about an open challenge. He wanted to see who would respond to this open challenge. Now, I know you guys are busy. You guys here have tons of championships, tons of responsibilities, but the Big Cheese put it out there, and you guys are both big men. I mean, what did you make of, let's say, an open challenge that the Big Cheese had put out there for his title?
Listen, Dalton will tell you the same.
I've got to say, I have massive respect for anyone who puts an open challenge out, because literally you're painting a target on your back, and you just don't know who's going to respond to that challenge. And if you don't know who's coming for you, you don't know how to prepare for the match. Now, there are guys who turn around and say, I don't need to prepare. You know, I'm always ready. I'm a fighting champion. You still need a little bit of prep time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you're not familiar with a person's body of work, if there's not many videos of kicking around, you can't really get yourself set up and have a game plan as to what you're going to go into the match and what you're going to be ready for. So massive respect to anyone who puts open challenges out there, because you really are making a rod for your own back there. You're potentially making a very, very difficult job for yourself.
Yeah, and Dalton will say the same thing here. Like I said, even though we're doing this, we're doing our thing with the first class attack thing, we're still both established singles wrestlers as well.
No.
So, Dalton does his own thing from time to time, and I do my own thing. We don't step on each other's toes. We don't try and hold the other one back, but we work together as a team going forward with our tag stuff. But like I said, if someone's going to open a challenge out, no matter who it's for, it's going to prick up our ears, and one of us is going to essentially try and take it. If it comes to a point where they say to us, sorry guys, we only want one of you, we'll just look at each other, we'll talk it through. I don't know, maybe flip a coin or draw a score.
I was going to say.
There we are. But
rest assured, whichever one of us is actually stepping to the challenge, the other one's going to be there in their corner.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do. At the end of the day, the first class, this is a brotherhood.
Yeah.
I know that Charlie's got my back 110%, and I've got his.
Yeah, Dalton's had my back in the last 18 months more times than I can count, and he knows I'll always be there for him if he goes through any dark times as well. So.
Absolutely, and that's why obviously you guys are the first class, and certainly Mr. Big Cheese himself, because he is the Big Cheese, likes to respond. He says, I like a target on my back. It keeps me on my feet. The only thing is I'm a moving target, so anyone best be on their sharp shooting point.
I'm not bad with a rifle and a scope, bro. You might want to be careful what you wish for there.
My grandfather used to say, if you try a shotgun, you get more of a nice wide spread. You'll catch them on the move there.
So you're saying essentially his background being a mixed martial arts fighter and a guy that was in all these different athletic competitions may not help him, since you guys are pretty good with a rifle or two.
Absolutely.
Well, okay. Well, fair play there. But
you know what? This might be fast, but a bullet's faster.
Well, you know what? I certainly wouldn't compete with that. And while I had a minute here, let's talk about Immortal. Obviously, you guys are going to be there May the 27th. That's coming up here. Not even 3 weeks from now. It's actually going to be a big weekend here around the world.
Jay White in his infinite wisdom, he's put a hell of a card together again. So on this one,
talent, yeah,
we're going our own ways on this one. So Charlie is defending his Immortal Wrestling fighting championship, and I get a shot at the National Heavyweight Championship. And as I said, me and Damien, we've got unfinished business from a while back. The last time me and Damien were in a ring together, he actually took me out with the National Heavyweight Championship. I haven't forgotten that, and I'm waiting to pay the demon back.
I've got beef with my opponent as well, Frankie T. Frankie T is the former fighting champion who I took the title from.
Yep.
Me and him, we go way back. We thought we're good. We used to be good friends. You know, we had great respect for each other. When I pinned him, I didn't see this. His foot was on the rope. When I saw it back afterwards, after he told me, I shook his hand and I said I would offer him a rematch. He then attacked me like a gutless coward. And it's taken nearly a full year for this rematch to finally get signed. And so he can't moan about it. This match is falls count anywhere, anything goes. So right, I'm gonna bounce his ass all over the place like a ping ball machine. So
what does that mean to you, Champagne Charlie, to be the champion of Immortal for just about a year?
It's a big thing for me because, like I said, this was my first championship. And I've listened. It's one thing to call yourself a fighting champion, but to be actually the
it's a very different thing to be a
champion.
fighting champion.
You know, I've taken this to anywhere who would wanted it and defended it. You know, I've made it. I've taken about, I would say, 15 pounds worth of metal and 10 pounds worth of leather and made it mean something. Okay.
It's definitely a very, very relevant title out there. The places you've defended it, everyone has wanted.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen you at least defended it in a number of different places, even over the past several months. I mean, just obviously following you on Sportswire.
GBWA is one place I said I mentioned. Great British Wrestling Alliance. Yep. I've also defended a place called Lock Collins Wrestling. I'd like to have defended it in more places, but some things came up and it ruined some opportunities there. Sadly, it happens. But and people may take cheap pock shots at me saying I was only defending it against certain, like in GBW. Someone Frankie T had the nerve to call them like enhancement talent. They're not enhanced. These are guys trying to make a break just as much as I am.
And you know what? Not for nothing. You go out into another territory and defend your championship. Pressure's on you. Yeah, pressure's fully on you.
And to all the guys on here, places like Breakout and Firestar Championship Wrestling, and Pride and Honor. It doesn't matter where it is. Like I said, if for any reason, right, if you want to book me and Dawson in singles matches, I'm more than happy to put this thing on the line. It does just give me someone. You just I don't even care if you pay the caretaker an extra £10. Get someone in the ring with me. I'll fight whoever you have. So.
And I'm quite happy to put my Intercontinental and my Undisputed title on the line anywhere, anytime, any place. When we went to Carnage, just to sweeten the pot there, we ended up putting our tag titles on the line, didn't we?
Yeah, the Full Throttle Wrestling tag titles. That's Dalton's company, that kind of thing. Even though, there's people, make assumptions about it, they're legitimate belts. I don't care what anyone says.
No.
Yeah. Hey, listen, championship is a championship, and if you're on Instagram, I want everybody to follow the Champagne Charlie and the Nomad Dalton Garrett of the First Class. You can follow them at _Nomad Wrestler on Instagram. Also, Champagne Charlie Vintage 92. Please give them a follow. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and I have some more comments. First, the Big Cheese wants to point out that he's watching this over the. I knew this was coming in because I saw this on Facebook somewhere. The UEFA Championship League semifinal between Man City and Real Madrid. Also, Frankie T is a great dude. I'm a big fan of his work. Okay, fair play. Jenny Hayes, my guest last Thursday, the rock idol of the UK, has some great music out there. I want to actually give her another plug because she gave me the CD here. So I want to give Jenny another big plug. We've been playing her music all throughout the week on Sportswire. Jenny's a phenomenal singer. She's also working her way in the ring. She was also a part of a Rumble coming up here very shortly. That was this past weekend. So she'll also be a huge part of things at Zenith. She'll be wrestling Sarah Sky there. So first ever all-women's match in NSOR history. So big shout-out to Jenny. And
how you doing, Jenny? We miss you, kid. It's
the first of many women's matches, I hope, at NSOR. So...
Well, I have no doubt that Jenny's going to definitely be the rock idol or the rock queen of the UK wrestling scene and nonstop action wrestling. But I actually have to get to...
There are so many great women, Jenny. I know so many great women wrestlers, as does Dalton. You think of some of the people who are out there right now. On the people like Lunatrix, people like like I said, let's see,
I got Lana Austin. I got
Lana
Jenny
Austin,
B.
Ayesha
Melanie Price. A lot of women. Tonga.
Raymond,
Yeah, Aisha Raymond's phenomenal.
yeah,
Um,
Amira Blair, Nightshade, Ava White, Aluna Blue, Vicky Two Thumbs. The list goes on. So yeah.
Absolutely. No, listen, definitely the women's scene, I think, is thriving in the UK. And Jenny also wants to say, before I get to the original comment I wanted to get to, I miss you two guys. Be nice to see you again. Well, let's hope that's it happens, actually. And Jenny's always doing a number of different things. She's got gigs on the way, new music. She's got wrestling appearances. So Jenny's got
we're sad we couldn't make hers and Joshua Snow's engagement party, but we had a booking.
Yeah, we would have about
that. We would have. Yeah, we would have gone in a heartbeat, but the booking.
Well, I would have liked to have been there, but I'm on the other side of the world. I mean, I would have went. I would have went, but unfortunately, though. But congratulations to them, and obviously Mr. Snow and their future history in life together.
Yes.
Yes.
But speaking of individuals, and I have to get to him, I have to ask you a thought or two on him because I'm actually wearing his shirt right now, and that is the lawman Kyle Kennedy. Kind of some unfortunate, sad news that's been all the talk of the professional wrestling world here over the past few weeks, and that's the news that he's unfortunately, due to what happened in his match at Deadline against Donnie Franchise, that he has had to, for now, announced that he's had to step away from the professional wrestling ring, at least inside it. And I know we've kind of had some back and forth banter with you and his society members. And I did want to ask you guys just a thought or two on the lawman Kyle Kennedy and just anything that you might want to share since we know that he's watching right now.
I'm going to say this, and I hope you can actually take some comfort in this. Doctors only advise, okay? They can only advise that you don't do something. At the end of the day, mate, only you know how you feel. And let's face it, a doctor said Daniel Bryan would never wrestle again.
They said Edge would never wrestle again.
Edge would never wrestle again.
Saraya? How about
Saraya would never wrestle again. Doctors have told me I would never wrestle again. And here I am 26 years on nearly. At the end of the day, mate, it's medical advice. Just concentrate on your healing. Do your rehab. Do what they ask of you. And then once you've done the rehab time, try a little bit and see how it feels. At the end of the day, I know you've got pins and plates in that arm, mate, but it's nothing that you can't cover up with a decent arm covering, an elbow pad, whatever it needs to be. So for now, I'm sure life, and I may use an expletive or two here, and I apologize. Life is going to be, you're going to feel like absolute shit at the moment, dude. I absolutely get that. You've worked so hard and you've come such a long way in such a short space of time to achieve what you've achieved with the society. Dude, you can hold your head up high. You've done it. You really have. But please, you're not beaten, not yet. Because at the end of the day, you and me, we still need to stand across a ring from each other. There's unanswered questions between you and me, bro, and I want the answers.
It can happen. It can definitely happen. It may not be now. It may not be tomorrow. Listen.
It may not even be in a year, but as soon as you feel that you're ready to go, my brother, I'm telling you now, I will lace up my boots and I will step in the ring with you. I've got no problem in doing that, honestly. We just wish you well. That's all we do, mate.
He's one of my favorites. I got to be honest. You know, I don't want to say who said this to me, but there was a wrestler I'm speaking with, and he was talking about wrestlers that can't talk. And there's a bunch of them that are out there. And, you know, God bless them. Everybody has the gift of gab. But I said, and he asked me, he said, you know, you've been doing this a while now. You interview people from, let's say, athletics. You've interviewed people in news because I have a background in news. I know it doesn't look like it, but I have a news background. And he asked me, well, who is one of the best talkers that you've had on in Sportswire? And I said, Kyle Kennedy. Kyle Kennedy, frankly, with this guy, the way he could hold a microphone, could captivate an audience. His sheer grit, just everything he brought to the table on Sportswire. I got to say, in the 4.5 years I'm doing this, he was one of, I think, the best talkers I've ever had. That transcends all different backgrounds, all different genres. And, you know, so I would love to see him.
You're absolutely right. He really can talk. But
Yeah.
It's not just he can talk.
He backs
Everything
it up.
he says, he backs it up in the ring.
Absolutely.
He
And a
does.
lot
Yeah.
of what you get with the lawman Kyle Kennedy, it is him. It is
Yes.
Bradley Hiley. You get the
But that's
man.
why I think he did so well, I think, inside the ring and with us here on Sportswire over the past year was because he was one of those guys that you could kind of go on the journey with him. You could feel that he wanted it. You could feel that he eats, sleeps, drinks professional wrestling. There's a lot of people that come on and they're doing it, but not with
Yeah.
him. He really believed in what he was doing.
And this
There's
is
a
why it's so heartbreaking because this guy, he's just put in so much hard work and he's achieved so much for it to end the way it seems like it's going to. I'm sorry, that can't be this guy's
no.
story. So as I said, at the end of the day, dude, you've just got to follow your rehab plan. You do your physiotherapy. The physio-terrorists, mate, they're not going to go easy on you, but it's for your own good. So literally, man, just do what you've got to do to get yourself healed. And then when you feel that you're back to nearly 100%, just try it and see how you feel. Because as I said, dude, me and you, I think we've got a date in the ring. We've been talking it up. We've talked about it on here, and it's one of the matches that I want.
There's something I'll say here. There's very few times in this business when you encounter an individual who has that certain type of fire. Listen, many people come into this business and they say they've got the passion and desire for it, but it's a very different thing to try and resonate that through what you do, not only on the ring but on the mic as well. Fans, in my opinion, feel something if they know they're seeing something special. They feel what I like to call the burn, because the burn is from someone who is carrying that immense fire. Very, very few people have it, but Kyle Kennedy is one of those ones who has it, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely no question about that. He is definitely somebody that I know, regardless, we're going to have back on Sportswire when he's up for it. And certainly, I want everybody to follow him, the Lawman K. Kennedy, on Twitter. Also, the Lawman Kyle Kennedy. Go like his pages on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And my name is the host of the Sports Report and the owner of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. Alongside me is the Champagne Charlie and the Nomad, Dalton Garrett. They are the first class, and they've got more championships between them than I might have fingers on my hands. But they're going to be in the ring here coming up this weekend for our friends over at Pride and Honor Wrestling against the Thrash Hearts. Also going to see him May the 27th at Immortal Wrestling. Champion Charlie is going to be at DKW. Also June the 11th at Breakout Pro Wrestling against the Lawless. One of the more intriguing matchups we're going to see from the tag team side. Also going to see them at our friend over at Carnage Championship Wrestling June the 17th. And the gentleman thug Ronnie Thatcher is here. I'll say hello to Ronnie in a second. But if you are on Sportswire Radio, I hope you continue to give us a like and follow on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. Also, YouTube at Sportswire Radio. A lot of new subscribers on YouTube. I really appreciate that. Also, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. And we are here with pro wrestling stars Champagne Charlie and the Nomad, Dalton Garrett. And I've got some more comments from the Lawman. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Never say never. Amen to that. He appreciates me for repping the merchandise. You can go to the Lawman's Instagram page for more information on a shirt like that. And I'm looking forward to your shirts one of these. Because at this point, I always tell people, guys, I always tell people this. This is what I tell people before you say something. I say at this point, they say, "What's in your wardrobe, Tom?" I said, "The only thing that's in my wardrobe these days, with an exception of a John Wick shirt, is wrestling shirts. I go out.
I still need
it's
to
all
send you one
wrestling
of mine. I
shirts.
keep forgetting to do it, so I really need to
Don't
send you
worry
one of
about
mine.
it. At this point, actually, all I have is wrestling shirts. In fact, I always tell the story. I go to this famous steakhouse in New York a couple of months ago, and I get invited. And the person that invites me, a well-to-do attorney, he says, make sure you dress up real nice. What are you gonna dress up in?" You know what I told him? A wrestling shirt. And he looked at me like, "Huh?" Well, and that's what happened. But also, more comments here from the Lawman. Thank you, gentlemen. Humbling words and incredibly appreciative of you boys. Casey Jack Bradley, we echo that sentiment, rooting for Kyle Kennedy on his recovery. Also,
Yes.
the gentleman thug. Before I get to Savvy, because I want to get to Savvy before I get to a little more with you guys here. But the gentleman thug, Ronnie Thatcher, obviously our friends over at Carnage Championship Wrestling, love what they're doing. Obviously, we've talked about them on the show many times in the past, and you guys were a part of the show in April. And I mean,
Yeah.
anything you might want to say to Mr. Thatcher and Carnage Championship Wrestling coming up here next month?
Listen, we had fun at the last show. We had immense fun. We enjoyed.
Even if you
meeting-
did get us DQ'd, you bellend.
Hey, listen. At the end of the day, the people they gave us weren't
Dude,
worth the
in
time.
front of the referee, you made the statement. This is not an Extreme Rules match. This is a wrestling match.
Yada,
And then you
yada,
picked up the
yada,
kendo
yada,
stick and you
yada.
did him outside in front of the referee.
I did it because I
Dude,
felt like
Wrestling 101. Charlie, come on, man. You're better than that.
Listen, yada
It
yada
was
yada.
going so well.
I got bored. What can I tell you? yeah.
Oh,
All right, well,
Because what did they give us? A child and an overgrown trick-or-treater. So,
well, I think even the gentleman thug Ronnie Thatcher laughed at that one, so that tells you that we're all on the same page here. But I was going to mention Savvy, but I've got a couple of comments from two individuals that you sort of touched upon at the beginning of the show here. The first one here is Dan Robertson himself, the cult of Killjoy, the man that everybody feels like is a pain in the behind here, but he certainly made a name for himself. We've seen him also quite a bit in CCW. He's always going to be a part of things in NSAR. And this individual, who might be related to an individual that I had a T-shirt on of when I announced you guys coming on video.
Yes,
you have to possibly could be related to, and obviously those two guys here, you guys have crossed paths with, well, sort of crossed paths with, and certainly Mr. Robertson made his way for the exits. But any thing you might want to share for those two before they square off? And I guess you might want to say the rubber match or the rematch coming up on May the 27th.
I know who my money's on. That's all I will say.
yeah. I think we're betting on the same horse there, dude. I think we are.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're still 6 months in, and I'm still wiping pieces of like I said, Dan Robertson's arse off of my boot. So,
well, that makes you and several other wrestlers. But Mr. Robertson was on his Facebook page and Instagram pages celebrating his 1 year and what he's done in the wrestling business. So there are some wrestlers. Well, that's funny, because some wrestlers take like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to take a bow in the wrestling business, but Mr. Robertson's already doing it in a year.
Listen, there are little girls who don't throw their little dolls around as much as we threw him around. Okay, so
well,
I have to say, his tenacity and his playful edge is starting to wear me down a little bit. I'm starting to like the guy ever so slightly, and I'm worried.
He's made a name for himself in CCW. He fits in pretty well there, I gotta say. Yeah. I mean, for all the talk about him, he's made a name for himself there.
Yeah, I mean, it almost makes you like the guy. Almost.
Yeah. Well, you know what, the society, listen, that's kind of like the name. When his name comes up, we had Jenny on last Thursday, and it was like you could see all of a sudden, Jenny, is obviously awesome and everything else, even if you don't agree with her sometimes in the ring, but you could tell Jenny was like, can we change the subject and move on? When I brought up Dan Robertson, you could tell when Dan Robertson's name comes up on Sportswire, it's like the name, almost like every wrestler, they kind of just like, they don't.
Yes, but in a way, he grows on you.
It's like a fart in an elevator. It's the most unpopular thing in the room.
Yeah, he grows on you like a rash.
Okay, well, I hope I don't have a rash these days, but certainly, Mr. Robertson, we definitely owe an appearance on Sportswire very soon. We'll definitely make that happen. But more comments.
What a shame! I'm going to be busy that night.
I'm sure of that. Sounds like me if I ever stepped in Jesus, I'm bored, a weapon, meaning to what you guys did in Carnage. Also, better fetch a chair. Dan needs hitting when it comes to it. I think that's for Mr. Horace. Casey Jack Bradley, I think you got to do some more training first because you got to continue to listen to Sean Only at GTM. But the gentleman thug, Ronnie Thatcher, says, I don't think he's Carnage Championship Wrestling material, though. Do you guys think that, though? I think when he's talking about Mr. Robertson, he doesn't think he's Carnage.
I think it'd be good for sweeping the ring out once we finished at the end of the night. I think that could be his contribution.
Yeah, I mean...
But do you think that actually, in a way, Mr. Robertson gravitates toward this, actually, in like how he's talked about? Because I think that he thrives on this. And in a way, maybe this is playing right into what Mr. Robertson wants.
Listen, if he wants
We're talking about him.
Yeah. Listen, if he wants to make himself useful on a corner show, I've got a great idea. Nail his feet to the floor and use him as a mic stand. So.
Well, you know, but I will say this: listen, he's gotten himself repeatedly booked. You look at he got himself in a segment with 2 former world champions in Gareth Angel and Jack Johnson. You've seen him make a name for himself in Blackheart. You've seen him certainly make a name for himself in Ensor. So at the end of the day, it may not be the most ideal way to make your name for yourself, but Dan Robertson has done it. I mean,
look, I won't
that's all
take
I'm
any.
gonna say.
Look, I won't take anything away from him. He's doing a great job, like kind of thing. But like, he got under our skin before we even stepped foot in Ensor. Okay,
Yeah.
we don't forget that very easily. So
No, he didn't endear himself to us from the get-go. So I say I'm slowly starting to come round, but it's a very slow shift.
Well, it's going to be a slow burn there. It's going to be slower than basically my mutual fund going back up to normal.
Me trying to like Killjoy is basically my Everest. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to move on here because I want to talk about something else that's a little bit more on a positive note here before we move on to closing thoughts. Hey, I like Horace, but I can do it myself. I'll deal with Dan. Yeah, he doesn't like Dan Robertson, but I'm going to move on from that.
No, I kind of got that impression. Yeah.
I was going to say I've had this for months with this, but I want to move on because I want to talk about Savvy, what you guys did do. It was all over on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm going to ignore a couple of critics. I'm going to ignore the chatter boxes. But I want to talk about how
I'm interested to actually hear from the viewers what their opinion is on this. Clearly, everyone in here is fairly like-minded individuals such as ourselves. So I'd like to hear from them. With what we did with Savvy, was what we did a good thing? And, you know, more guys in the business should look to emulate something like that? Or do you think we're just seeking the positive press? What do you guys think? Let's hear some comments.
Well, I would like to say, as maybe that warms up the band of comments here in a second, I think personally that it should be done more often because if you take a step back, now I know obviously we're wrestlers, we're competitors, and you know we don't like people, and you know it's about this and that. I think in a lot of ways, at the end of the day, a wrestler told me this. This is how I live by it. As long as you're having fun, and long as you made people smile and they had a good time, I think that's what it's all about because at the end of the day, life is short, right? You guys are these larger-than-life characters. You guys in these towns are a big deal. You guys certainly have responsibilities. You do a lot in this business. You do a lot to put yourself in these positions. And if there's an opportunity to put a smile on somebody, why not do it? That's the way I see it.
Personally, this is how
I wholeheartedly agree with you there, Tom.
Here's the thing. We weren't looking to get anything out of it. We were just trying to, make someone's day, and we were also doing it as a favor for a friend as well. Because Savvy's mom, Tasha, we met her at one of the shows, and we because of Savvy's reaction to us first time around, we instantly became friends. So we were just
absolutely.
Savvy doesn't take to people easily. She's been through a lot in her very, very short life. And unfortunately, the people that she should be able to depend on have let her down. At the end of the day, I'm a very, very, very simple person. I have one goal, one mission in life. When it's all said and done and when I'm not here anymore, all I want people to be able to turn around and say he was a good bloke, he was a nice guy, and he put others first. Definitely. I just want to be remembered as a nice guy. That's all I want. And I'm hoping that, everything I've done puts me across that way. Don't get me wrong. I'll lace my boots up and I'll kick ass when I have to as well. I mean, it's in the job description. And again, not everything that we do, not everyone is going to be a fan of everything we do. And that's fine. Sure. When people buy a ticket to a show, they get an opinion. They're entitled to express that opinion. Unfortunately, and I think Charlie will agree with me here, opinions are like buttholes. Everyone's got them, and most of them are full of
Yeah,
I think unfortunately, and I do have some comments about this, so I won't read them off in a second, but I do think sometimes in the wrestling world, it's a little different than other things in life because everybody thinks, well, I could have did this like that. Well, this is how I would have did it. This is what it should be, right? Wrestling fans are so particular, they don't step back. And what I
I
always
think
try to do,
wrestling fans are probably worse than Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their idea of how they would do things,
but
but
they don't take a step back and kind of watch it happen and let it happen. Whereas everybody wants to know the ending, everybody wants to know what happened, and wow, it should have been this. Not they don't let it appreciate that moment. Almost like, how can I say it? Almost like take it all in. They always say absorb everything around you, take it all in, because people take it for granted. That's the old expression.
Another reason why I did with Dalton is, here's the thing. I love children, okay? Now, I don't have any kids myself because I've not met that right person, but I have nieces and nephews who I absolutely adore. I have friends who have kids, and obviously Dalton he has 3 sons, but but 2 of them are quite young, and they're fantastic boys. But outside the exception of my youngest nephew, right now, Savvy is one of the most adorable children I have ever met
she
in my
really
life.
is.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, you can't help but sort of smile when you're around her. She's got this little face and this energy, and she's just such a pure heart. And the fact that people treat her so disposably, I'm sorry, that's not right.
Absolutely.
So
Listen,
and
I always say you treat people the way that you want to be treated, right?
Yes.
So
definitely.
At the end of the day, whoever's treating Savvy that way, karma will come back to them. Karma, they always say karma is a fill in the blanks there. So I do have some comments because people actually did want to talk about this. So
this is a conversation that I really would like some feedback on.
I'd like to tell you about it if you don't mind. I mean, I have to say what you did is amazing. I commend you for it. My girl loves the both of y'all. You've made a very hard time so much better, and we appreciate you so much. It's a lot like my friend's son. His favorite wrestler is Pride. Sorry, guys, but at Deadline, he had him throw his coat to him during the Rumble. It should be done. Well, he would have had you guys as the favorites, but you weren't there at Deadline. So that's the reason why Pride was the favorite. Just pretend I didn't say that. But you did an amazing thing. More wrestlers should do it for their fans. Listen, that was exactly my point. And again, John Cena holds the record for Make-A-Wishes. I mean, Roman Reigns, I think, is number 2 all time. I mean, Hogan was the first one to do it. People didn't seem like they had a problem with Hogan making Make-A-Wishes or Roman Reigns or John Cena. So to me, I don't see what the issue is here.
A lot of the flack that we get seems to come from other wrestlers. I'm going to say this.
I'm going to say this here, and you don't have to respond to this. Both of you don't have to respond to this, and I know where this is going. And I'm not going to say who, I'm not going to say when, because I don't know the details of it, but I kind of have an idea of it. Wrestling, there's a lot of politics, and there's a lot of BS over nothing.
Oh, man, you wouldn't believe.
I'm gonna even say this out there. I shouldn't even say it, but I'm gonna say I've even heard in backyard wrestling there's politics. So can you imagine? Yeah, which sounds goofy. I've heard that through the grapevine. So I can only imagine the reason.
Oh no! He shouldn't get to hit that guy with the fluorescent tube. That should be my responsibility.
that was my point. But my point really was it was for you guys. There's people that want
such a small community, and there's only a certain number of spots on a card, and everyone feels that they're worthy of it.
What it really is that people want to be big fishes in a small pond, but they don't take a step back and take life for what it is. At the end of the day, yes, you guys are champions. We love you guys on Sportswire, but if you have an opportunity to make a difference in someone's life, I think that's the biggest accomplishment. When I met Reynaldo last year at the time, who was the LWF champion, we were talking, and when he came here to New York, and he said, Tom, your job and responsibility as a wrestler is to try to leave the world or the ring in a better place than when you left it.
When you found it,
what you guys did was exactly that. So I wish that more people would do something like that.
And this is a little girl who's known disappointment and heartbreak. If I can repair just a smidgen of that through my actions, why wouldn't I?
And like I said
absolutely.
before, Like I said before,
1000%.
we went as our gimmicks, but like I said, to us, this wasn't just a wrestling thing. It was, like I said, doing something for a friend.
Yeah, and Savvy became somebody on our streams was mentioned. We've had you on a couple different times, and this certainly came up. And obviously, you guys struck a friendship, and I think it was really unique. And I think in a lot of ways, there are people out there that do these things. Certainly in GT Ministries, they do a lot of works in the community to help people. I think CWE. Their show is all based on charity for cancer and cancer research, raising money, WAS. So I think that there are people out there that are making a difference. But I would ignore the haters. Forget the small handful of people. It's all politics. It's all BS. At the end of the day, I would move on from it. More people want to tune in and talk to you guys. My boys, Ronnie Thatcher says, it's great what you've done, lads. You do you, and if it makes a kid's day, you've done great. Yeah. It's coming from wrestlers. Just lace up the boots and settle it in the ring. Simple. Yeah, absolutely. If it makes you feel better, Ethan might not be your favorite, but you're one of my favorites. All right, well, that's a fair point. We always like that. When Savannah met the Nomad and Charlie, she was at her lowest. We were having a lot of issues with her dad, but they've made such a difference to her. They showed up for her birthday calls, messages, and even surprise visits, and she is so much better for it. Like I said before, that's what it's about.
Tasha sent me one of the most adorable pictures I've ever seen in my life. At Savvy's birthday, I gave Savvy one of my T-shirts, that kind of thing. It was way too big for her because the smallest size I had was a medium, but it was just she took it anyway, that kind of thing.
At least she's a little, she'll grow into it.
Yeah, and Tasha sent me a picture of Savvy wearing the T-shirt to go to bed in, and it was just so adorable.
Well, certainly this next comment, though, moving on here to our closing thoughts and a few other things, may not be as cute, but I do want to bring it up. Speaking of tag teams, by the way, celebrated a birthday last week. Happy belated birthday to the upgrade, Mr. Callum Majakster. One half of those, well, one third, 1/4, whatever you might want to call it these days, of the nonstop action wrestling.
We're still going to say 1/4. To me, Bradley's down. Carl Kennedy's down. He's not out.
I'll go with it. Listen, I'd definitely be happy to say 1/4 of the tag team champions for now in nonstop action wrestling from the society, Mr. Callum Majakster. I must say, I'm intrigued to know when are you guys back at NSAW? Not to face us, of course. I prefer keeping my chest in one piece, but I'd love to watch you guys batter someone again. Anything you'd like to say to Mr. Majakster? Any sorts?
That's down to the NSAW board. At the end of the day, brother, we've just got to strike a date. We've got to find a date that works for both of us. We'd be at Zenith if it wasn't for our previous commitment to Immortal. Yeah. We'd absolutely be there. But at the end of the day, Jay White, the promoter at Immortal Wrestling, he's been very, very, very good to me over the years. I owe the guy a lot. So when he calls and asks me to turn up, I'm there with bells on. I've got such respect, adoration, and at the end of the day, I count the dude as one of my closest friends. So when the phone rings, when it's Jay White, it always gets answered. And I will always put myself out there, and I'll go that extra mile for Jay because he's one of the very, very few people that's actually earned that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a big space in my heart for Jay White as well. Like as I said, DKW was the company that trained me, but Jay White was the first guy outside of DKW to give me an opportunity. To go to a different company and start getting my name out there. He was the first man to look me in the eye and say, "We're going with you," that kind of thing. This is your shots, that kind of thing. He gave me the shot of the title. I won the title, and he's been backing me the whole way. Like I said, and during I hit a few dark days late last year, he stuck by me, and I'll never forget that kind of thing. So.
That's completely fair, and obviously you guys are a huge part of that show. We want everybody also to support Immortal Wrestling. Please follow them on their Instagram.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we have still got some tickets still available. So if you can get onto the Venom nightclub website and just get yourself your tickets. Get in. You do not want to miss this. It is going to be one of the shows of the year.
So many great talent. I mean, you got like for one of the great contests. You got two great cruiserweights, Callie Gray versus Tommy Lawrence. You've got for the cruiserweight championship, you've got Lion Kid versus Goff Daddy Xander.
You got Malik and Henry Knight Jr. also, I believe, on the card.
Malik Henry.
Ricky Knight Jr. is there. Johnny Storm's going to be there.
Aluna Blue versus Nightshade. It's just going to be complete fire all the way through the show.
Absolutely. And you can go to Wrestle Immortal on Instagram if you want to get a ticket or two. There's going to be a lot there still to look forward to. And doors open at 5:30. Yeah. Show starts 6 o'clock, finished by 9. Adults concessions will be 13 pounds. Concessions, it'll be also free childcare. Family of 4. Also, there'll be it's 35 pounds for a family of 4. You can also go to Eventbrite for more information. So please support our friends over at Immortal because the guys are going to be a huge part of that card here. A couple of comments here before we move on. Ronnie Thatcher is leaving us. We certainly say goodbye to the gentleman thug, Ronnie Thatcher. Yeah. We look forward to seeing him soon on Sportswire.
We'll see you on the 17th, Ronnie.
See you then.
Absolutely. And this individual here, who may know an individual, says, much love to the first class. Absolute legends. Proud to say I think he meant to say a lot from them. So this individual who might know an individual.
You learned how to take an ass whooping, Dan. You learned how to take an ass whooping.
Yeah, but this guy's saying, you know what? Yeah, he might know who they are, and he's giving some nice words. So this guy seems...
Yeah.
All right, so before I get to closing thoughts here, we spoke a lot. We have a lot of stuff coming in the pikes. Obviously, this weekend, we have the 27th. You guys are going to be a part of big things. The 11th, also the 17th at Carnage. So I'm going to go first with you, Champagne Charlie, then the Nomad Dalton Garrett. And what do you want to say to anybody who's going to watch you guys in the ring here over the next month?
Yeah, like I said, me and Dalton, we've got like many things coming up. We're available for bookings both for singles and tags. If you want anything from us, hit us up. It'll make costs easier as well, seeing as how we travel together as well, So that you're saving a bit of money there already. We've got so much coming up. Pride and Honor, like I said, Immortal Wrestling. I've got DKW 28th defending my showcase title for the first time against Tyson Lee. Can't wait for that one. Just like that, it's just a hot summer ahead, and we want to keep this momentum going.
Yeah, I think summer to me started with Guardians of the Galaxy this past weekend.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
I'm not saying nothing. I've actually had 3 wrestlers message me what my thoughts were on that, but I'm not going to say anything here on it. The only thing I will say is if you can, try to see it in real 3D. That's all. That's all I would say. But I would say that the summer might have started this past weekend with Guardians, but it's going to really come into full effect with you guys being in action this coming weekend. But, for you, the Nomad Dalton Garrett, anything you want to say to anybody who's going to watch you here over the next several weeks?
Yeah, it'll be a pleasure to see everyone. Please come out, support your local wrestling promotions. It's literally the only way that we keep going. We're small independent promotions. So your guys' ticket fees, that goes a long, long way. When you're there, please buy merchandise. Because again, a lot of these guys, they are working for cost. So, stick your hand in your pocket. The merchandise.
That's why I'm always doing that for our wrestlers on Sportswire. I might be the biggest contributor in that.
Yeah, you say the merch isn't expensive, and it just means so much to these independent wrestlers. As for Champagne Charlie and me, we're going to be doing some of our classic days out. So we're going to be heading into London again in a little while. We're going to be in Southend-on-Sea again in a little while. And there's a couple of other places on the map. But keep an eye on our social. So it's Champagne Charlie Vintage 92 and the Nomad _wrestler. So hit us up and keep an eye on the socials for all information first class. And I just look forward to seeing everyone out there. So I just want to thank everyone who's tuned in again. It's been an absolute pleasure. Tom, you're the man. We love coming and
I was going to give you guys normal closing thoughts, but I mean, certainly go ahead into that. And one more thing from the Big Cheese. He says, I like to watch my shows, but it's a 4-hour, 10-minute drive. So unfortunately, I won't be there to support you, lovely fellas. But I will say that Joshua Howard, if you are out there, you certainly are a promoter. I'm sure that you can bring these guys to the CWE, and I'm sure Mr. Big Cheese can say hello to you guys formally face-to-face in a ring sometime. So I'm sure that can happen. Like I said, we'll cross paths again. So Any other
We
closing
will.
thoughts from you, Mr. Champagne Charlie, before we say sayonara tonight?
Like I said, support local wrestling. You know, it's one of the greatest forms of entertainment you can find. Depending on obviously the content of the show, it's one of the last true forms of entertainment that the whole family can enjoy. Like I said, it's
Absolutely.
just, you know, so we do this. Not, I mean, people can say I do this, they do it, you know, to get paid and stuff like that, but I do it genuinely because I purely love it, that kind of thing. You know,
Absolutely.
It's a passion for us. This isn't just another job. This isn't just another way of making money. Because believe me, the money really isn't as good as people like to think it is.
Oh, listen, you know, I'm glad you brought that up. You guys are not, getting rich off this.
No,
Oh, no.
absolutely not.
I work a desk job during the day, so yeah.
Listen, I mean,
And
people ask me all the time,
I work for
"What's
the
why?"
ambulance service, and
Listen,
you know,
people ask
so
me. I had somebody ask me, "Well, you must make a lot of money doing Sportswire." I'm like, I work like 2 other jobs and constantly like arranging my schedule to be around this. I mean, people think, "Oh, we do this," and we're like, no, it's not like that at all. And people sometimes don't have that.
Unless you're working for Triple H or Tony Khan or one of those other guys over there, then like I said, it's very difficult to do.
Listen, I was even speaking with RPD, who was a boxing champion. He said, "Well, I can do this because in boxing, I made money, but in wrestling, it's not what people think." So obviously, you guys are doing a lot to support this passion, to support this love, and to give people what they want.
I don't know what it is, but like I said, unless you've stepped in the ring, it's something you can't really fathom. But the moment you put on a pair of boots, you're given the get-go to step into the ring and actually have a match, and if you feel the buzz of the crowd chanting your name,
right?
There's no feeling like it.
You're addicted, right there.
It's an adrenaline. It's an adrenaline. It's a rush.
It's more the high that you'll get from anything else. So.
Yeah,
no, I don't think there is anything else that you really can compare to being in a wrestling ring and watching those people. I had a guy, Vito Fratelli, on who wrestled the MLW World Champion, Alexander Hammerstone. And he also wrestled and he beat TJ Perkins last summer. He holds like 8 world titles. And he was telling me, I've been in a ring with 100, even if it's 100 people and they chant my name, it's like, I've been in a ring with, he was telling us he was in a ring with 5,000 people in Mexico, but 100 people sometimes is more of a rush for him than when 5,000 people in Mexico chanted his name.
Because when you do the smaller venues and stuff like that, it's a much more intimate thing. So
that's exactly what he said with us.
You get up close and personal with these people. And when we did Carnage, I mean, we went in as the heels, but by the end of the night, I think we were pretty much fan favorites.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, that's because you guys are fan favorites. And last thing here before we say goodbye, we can't wait to see you guys again soon. Savvy says good night. Nomad, Charlie, and Tom, we say good night to Savvy as well.
Savvy.
Good night, baby girl.
And definitely, we definitely love hearing from Savvy and everybody else that is tuned in here. And gentlemen, congratulations on all the recent success. I'm looking forward to watching you guys here and talk a lot more about you guys here over the next month. Definitely, I have no doubt this summer we will definitely have you guys back on here. And I look forward to more stuff from you. I look forward to seeing you guys in Breakout Pro Wrestling because we have some coverage for them on the 26th with Mr. Ben there. So Mr. Ben's going to be talking a lot about you guys there.
Yeah,
so,
we'll definitely be tuning into that. Yes.
Absolutely. And Andrew Hanley says, absolutely brilliant tonight, Tom. As always, keep up the great work, gents. Can't wait to see you guys at the show again. Amen, Andrew. Thank you here.
Take it easy, Andrew.
And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody here that is tuned in tonight on Sportswire Radio to hear the multiple champions, the First Class, Champagne Charlie, and the Nomad, Dalton Garrett. My name is the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. I'll be back on here Friday night with a full slate of action because I'm going to have on Jenna, fresh off his U.S. tour where he wrestled over the Wrestling Warzone Connection. Going to talk a lot about that. Also, what's ahead for him in places like Bolton Town Wrestling, amongst many other companies. Also going to have right on on here, an LWF Power Hour. After that, we'll see how my voice holds up with Wildfire Nate Reese and the scenario. Nathan Gunn, a lot to catch up with those guys. Figure about 8 o'clock, same time that the guys were on here tonight. So that'll be this Friday. We'll have more coverage ahead. So definitely stay tuned for all that. Also, Thursday night, I'll be on with the IMF's Soldier. That'll be 10 p.m. Central Time. So we'll have a lot to talk about Iowa Midwestern Wrestling Federation. They'll be speaking a lot about DKW. They'll be speaking about a number of other wrestling companies and wrestlers ahead. So we want to thank Soldier for tuning in and with us here on Sportswire. I look forward to getting to speak with him for the first time here. But again, if you're on sportnarium.com/player, you go back to your regularly scheduled programming. Again, my name is the host of Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio. And thank you to Champagne Charlie and the Nomad, Dalton Garrett. Good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on the number one Global